saw the second Mikio Naruse's film. This is 1954 film, black and white. It's called Sound of the Mountain. This particular title is from the Sound of the Mountain book by Yasunari Kawabata. And I already kind of did the video about my favorite 3 fictions by Kawabata. It's one of them, The Sound of Mountain. So yeah, I was very much, and I could see, can you see the rainbow there? Can you see the rainbow? Okay, anyway, so you know, since I read the book and I know the spoilers and everything, but the movie is almost like much better than the fiction itself, the book itself. I felt this particular direction is wonderful, beautifully directed, and kind of a dramatic, complex, and good actings, and depicts this particular sentiment of the Kawabata's rather complex story, I would say. And so Setsuko Hara is in there, and she is wife of this husband, who is very, very, again, kind of an egregious type of guy who, you know, makes this woman, he's also more or less, he has a mistress, you know, in a broad light, and wife knows it. Wife's name is Kimiko and his father-in-law. So this particular household, this patriarchy, lives with his wife. He's probably about 50 to 55-ish, I would say. And so he and his wife and their son and the son's wife live in this household. So 4 people lived in that house. However, they have another daughter who married to someone who is also not that great guy, and so this daughter has to come home quite often, and because the guy was kind of mistreating, or more or less like not nice to her, to his wife. And therefore very, very complicated story there. Kimiko, who is this husband's wife, they don't have any kids yet, but Kimiko is very fond of this patriarchy, and so this guy also very, very nice to her, so they have a good terms in there. And but this patriarchy is very kind of lenient to his son. Son is bastard. Son is more or less like you know, in a movie and the book too, that depicted as very irresponsible and very self-centered, and more or less like you know, nobody likes him, you know. All the audience immediately feels that this guy is not good. But because of their own family, so father was kind of nice to him, even though very critical about his treatment to his wife and ignoring her or whatever. So wife Kimiko is, I think, very much more or less like a cannot believe him, or maybe ready to be separated from him or something. And but this particular another daughter also came into this household. She has this daughter has two kids, small kids, and so kind of handful. So it's lots of emotion in this family, and so this great patriarchy and his wife are trying to more or less persevere or try to solve the problem or whatever, that they are trying to do something, but they can't do anything because completely the son is completely different person, and he's grown-up adults, so they cannot do anything much about it. So anyway, they live in this very nice house in Kamakura. Kamakura is depicted as a very posh place for people who are very intellectual, and the type of people, rich people, companies executives, all these things, all these people live there. And so it's a nice place, and this Kamakura as a location is some added interest in this particular film as well, because I think the Japanese point of view, always like something look up to, so it is something that I felt more or less like yeah, this is a typical film, because Ozu has a kind of a similar at the location, at the same location, the Kamakura background, his late spring, I think that's the name of the film. Yeah, it's also in Kamakura. But anyway, so in this particular film, it's not much about the cultural background of Kamakura or anything, but nonetheless, it kind of shows that those people are very much prestigious rank of people, and so they're trying to solve the problem. However, they can't. So at the end, everything is kind of falling down, and lots of mishaps in there, and those sequence is very well depicted. But you have to survive, you have to live. I think that's probably the message of this particular story, and the film is pretty much the same conclusions there. But the film is nice in a sense that you can see all these events and actions, what's going on among the people in the family, more direct. So it's easy to understand there, and that's what I like. I think this film is beautifully shot, beautifully made. I think I became a fan of Mikio Naruse now. I think he's a great director. I think he also has pretty much like the same themes all through his career. Pretty much just the themes are repeated, pretty much. But Naruse's film is, I think, very, very dependent on the materials there he was creating. This particular film is based on Kawabata's fiction, Sound of Mountain, and but very loyal to the, very faithful to the book, but yet it's much more, I don't know, probably emotion is there. Emotion is there compared to books. I think emotion is there, and from actions, the action is like a fluent, and there's no like a strange connections or anything. So now I became a fan of Mikio Naruse. Now I was kind of skeptical about his movies, but now I really like this one. Is, I think, very good. I think it's I like it more than probably Oz's film now, because of when I got to know this. Yeah, so in a Criterion Channel you can watch several films by Mikio Naruse, and so this is the second film I watched by Mikio Naruse, and it's wonderful. So I strongly recommend and this particular film. And Setsuko Hara and So Yamamura is a father. Setsuko Hara is the daughter. So it is more or less, it's very interesting, thoughtful, maybe intelligent filmmaking, I would say, because it just conveys this particular emotions very well. Bye.